after the game, I was kind of just not happy, but kind of content with what I saw because all I wanted to see was something to be hopeful about. And I thought Brock Glenn gave you hope because it's such an important position and you've been so bad there this year that I thought you got hope because you need hope for the future. And whether it's him or Cromanhawk or Trevor Jackson, you need some hope. So I was fine with that. And then on the way home, Stephanie was even telling me this. She's like, I wish I had my phone recording you because I just went on a 5-minute diatribe about how unbelievable, and I mean that word literally, bad this offensive line and this running game is. It is fireable. And I mean it is across the board fireable. Like if Mike Norvell wasn't owed $65 million, he would be on the chopping block, man. But you absolutely cannot. There is no excuses at all for an offensive staff and an offensive general, an offensive line to look this bad. And when I tell you, Aslan, I did some numbers, I did some research. Florida State is now, this isn't my research, I'm getting to that. Florida State is now 132nd in the country in rushing. That run by Brock Glenn at the end of the game, on the last play of the game to get 10 yards, kept them from being dead last. Who is dead last is Kent State. They average 57.6 yards per game. Florida State averages 58. Florida State, there are 72 players in this country that have rushed for more yards than Florida State has as a team. They average 58 yards a game. The next closest team in the AC, like it's one thing to say, because we've done it all the time, right? Yeah, if they could just get the running game going. They're really struggling with the running game. Like Duke is saying that. The Duke offense is struggling right now to run the football. They average 112 yards a game, man. They average twice as much as Florida State. To put that in perspective, they're still 111th in the country, and they average twice as much running the ball as Florida State does. It is impossibly bad, and it is. And if it doesn't get fixed, and why would it over the next 6 games? You absolutely have to figure out as a head coach what the flip you're doing, because this is inexcusable. I looked it up, Aslan, the 1973 Florida State team that was winless. 0-11, worst team in school history. It averaged like 10 points per game. In their first 6 games, Aslan, they rushed for 648 yards total, which ain't great. It's 108 yards a game. 648 yards. That's 300 more yards than the 2024 Florida State team. What the Sorry, yeah, I know you have to bleep that out. But is that not a realistic question to ask?
Well, they ran the ball a lot more back then, Corey. They were run first team back in the day.
No, I mean more about you're ranked ahead of Kent State.
Yeah.
That's the only team in the country that runs the ball worse than you do. And they have a talent disparity that is nothing close to having 4- and 5-star offensive linemen on their roster and guys that transferred in that were big-time transfers, and they're 24 years old. So absolutely, this is such a debacle on a historical level, doing unprecedented things. The worst rushing offense in school history by a large margin. The second worst averaged twice as many yards a game as you do right now. So this was my diatribe, by the way. So Steph, you didn't have to record it. Here it is again for you to listen to. But that's why I just started thinking about it. And it's because we did the Warchant rap, and we're not pandering and we're not trying to make it seem better than we are, but we use words like they're struggling to get it going. No, Duke is struggling to get it going. Florida State is an embarrassment. Florida State is doing things that no ACC offense has probably ever done. In year 5, with an offensive line coach and an offensive coordinator that has been here for 5 years, and all these linemen are 23 years old. So why would it be any better next year? It is an embarrassment to the nth degree to run the ball like this. And so what does it matter who the quarterback is if you run the ball like this? And again, of course, whatever you do, Mike, don't let your quarterback run the ball. Don't tell your quarterback to pull it one time and run around the edge just to see what it looks like. Keep handing it off on those slow-ass mesh plays, 6 yards in the backfield, so you can get maybe back to the line of scrimmage. Maybe. Every single play you try, you get 1 yard or 2 yards. Toafili's your leading rusher. 10 carries for 16 yards. He had 1 9-yarder, meaning the rest of the game, your senior running back, who's done some good things in this sport, had 9 carries for 7 yards. And he was your leading rusher. So I don't want to normalize it, and clearly I'm not, and I can't get that. I won't be this mad moving forward because it's just a reality now. But I don't want to normalize that they just have a bad rushing attack. No, no, no. Duke has a bad rushing attack, and they average 50 yards a game more than Florida State does on the ground. 50. So that's why I'm so that's why I think even after 1 year, even though you just went undefeated last year, it is absolutely on the table that you bring a whole new staff in or a whole new scheme in that your offensive line coach can coach to, because this is not working. This is an embarrassment to running football all over this great land of ours.